you been stuck in a rut lately? Welcome to In the Rut Podcast with your hosts, Josh Merrit and Macy Davenport.
What is up, everybody? Josh Merrit here with the one, the only, Macy Davenport. Macy, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. We are back, and we are coming full force in this podcast world. It is off season. I did a little bit of deer hunting. Now I got a deer, so we're in the podcasting time. You ready?
Yeah, we were really, really busy. I think our intentions were right, and we were excited when we first got the equipment last year, but then we started moving. We were renovating a house, and now we're here.
Yeah, we got a little setup going, a little podcast setup, and looks good. Macy decorated this whole room, and it's kind of my memorabilia room. Very, very cool. Got my first ever podium jersey, a couple trophies. Looks good.
He keeps getting podiums, and he keeps doing well. We're either gonna have to make a bigger room, or I'm gonna have to put up more shelving, and we're just gonna be surrounded. Although we kind of already are. So
yeah. So let's get into it. 2024 GNCC season.
I think we gave him a recap of the first couple, and then obviously we got busy and we weren't able to continue.
Did we?
So, yeah.
Oh, wow. I don't even remember that.
Yeah. Kind of crazy. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it has. It's been a heck of a year, guys, from, like she said, moving to just the racing. Mind-blowing, great year, record year, and we're looking to even get better in the future.
Yeah. So, obviously, I think we did like the first three total. We did the first race, and then we did the second and third in a podcast together.
Okay.
So, do you want to just kind of go from there? And
I think we did do Camp Coger because that was the one I was sick.
Yeah.
I remember talking about that a little bit, actually. So the Old Gray, new racetrack, Tennessee, the Landers property. It was technical, tight technical. Parking, not ideal. It rained. Everyone got stuck. GNCC had people shuffling around through the mud, which made it even worse because they were already stuck beforehand. Luckily, me and you get our own pro spot. We got in and out very seamlessly, and yeah. You want to say anything about it?
Yeah.
Do you remember anything about it?
Yeah, I remember obviously the mud. I think that was a big deal. But other than that, I mean, everyone came off of the track and kind of had the same opinion in the sense of, man, if they can get parking down, we want to come back. We love it. We haven't had a new track like this in a long time. It's tight and it's old school. Like, that was what I heard, I feel like, just on repeat all day long. And I don't think that you maybe had necessarily the best start, but you still came out third at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. And I think it came down to the last lap of a podium position, if I'm remembering correctly.
I got a decent start. I think I was like fourth or fifth.
Okay.
And I was running second for a while behind Bryson. Bryson was kind of gone, and then Walker caught me and passed me. Very good race for me. I hit one tree. I think I got a video of it. Maybe Macy will put it in here. Actually, a fan got a video of it. It was pretty funny. But the guys were right behind me. They were, I think, 20 seconds behind me, just out of sight. But, yeah, we had a great race, especially on a tight track, which I'm not known for. So, another good start that race, a good finish. And like you said, it was an old school race, and everybody loved it. The rocks were definitely challenging, but the terrain and just like the overlay of the track, there was hills, there were valleys, there was rock sections, there was good field sections that they let us use. It was awesome.
Cool. It stinks somewhat because now that it's been him and I at some of these, just the two of us, I don't leave the trailer at all, and I don't get to see a lot of the track itself, which obviously has its pros and cons. I don't necessarily get as dirty if I don't go out in the woods and things like that, but and the Racer TV coverage has been great, but that one, it was wooded and tight.
Thank you, Johnny.
see as much yet. I love listening to Johnny
And
talk.
Mikey.
Yes.
Yeah. It wasn't like a muddy track. I remember like the pits were muddy, but the track was like near perfect. I think I watched the coverage, the live, and it was pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't like they could ride or fly the drone because there wasn't that many fields and there was a lot of leaves on the trees.
Yeah. So I think that one, the biggest thing, like I said, was that it was an old school track. It was new, and I'm interested to see, I'm sure like many other people, the anticipation of if it'll be back next year or not.
Yeah, I hope it is. Like I said, I enjoyed it. All right, on to the Hoosier round 6. I've always struggled at Ironman. I'm just going to call it Ironman, even though this one is called the Hoosier. The last, I don't know, since I've gotten off of a mini quad, I don't think I've had really good success there, but I was super confident coming off of 2 third place podiums. I was ready to, be up on the box again. Not the best start. I actually just watched that video, just bogged down kind of off the start, and I was mid-pack, and I remember just coming through the pack a little bit. It was tough to pass. It's so fast there that everyone can go fast. Wyatt and Adam,
Obviously,
Austin, those were the 3 that I were battling the entire race. So, I mean, Austin, he picks it up every year at Ironman Hoosier. He sleeps in his own bed, I think. So it makes it, a home race. Like you get 100% rest and he's ready to go, and he has all his friends and family there. So yeah, he has a little bit more pressure, but he also has, a little bit more support in the woods. So, Wyatt always does good there. And man, I was riding really, really good. I was in 4th place right behind Adam at the time. And, the rain came down and it felt like,
Oh, I'm now having flashbacks of this race. Okay.
it felt like I had grease on my hands trying to hold on to my handlebars. And sadly, there was one corner I tried to make. There was a lapper stuck in the main line. I think me and Adam split. And when I went, I thought the safer way. I went to turn left and my bike just went straight. And I just literally teed into a tree and sadly couldn't make the corner. So I pulled it off. And I look at my hands, and they were full of mud at that point. And Austin and Wyatt went by me, and Wyatt ended up getting Adam that day, and I think getting 3rd. So it's just like I lost a little bit of points that day to Wyatt, but
I remember you came into, it was after the pits, like after you came for the second lap. So it must have been the 3rd lap, and you wanted goggles. And the way that the pit is set up at that one, they don't have us directly on the track. Like you actually have to come outside of the main race course. So anybody else who isn't a pro continues on, and then like there's a banner and then another lane and then the trailers. So I had no idea that you would have wanted to come in, and I was on the side, like in between the pit lane and then the raceway. And before I could even figure out that you were coming in, there was someone else. I don't know if either was coming in and then someone else was standing with me and actually had your goggles. And so I was unprepared. I definitely learned my lesson, but you weren't happy about that.
not at all.
So that was a rough one. I think the mud and then obviously just hard. I think you put a lot of pressure on yourself every single time we go there. And then, so.
Yeah, not the best finish there. Ended up 6th place, 6 overall. Still not bad for Ironman. There's some guys that can go wicked fast in those cornfields, so not terrible, not where I wanted to be. Okay, on to Powerline Park, round 7, St. Clairsville. You want to start this one?
This is all you.
This is all me. So I did a podcast with Neil Shepard at Wild Willie's, and he actually clipped it and said, he's like, hey, if there's a track that could come back that you've raced in the past, what would it be? And I was like, well, it's funny. It came back. It's Powerline Park, and I'm super excited. This was actually before the Georgia round. I was like, I'm excited for it to come back. I've had success there in the past, and it's one of those. It's a home race for me. So
You weren't sleeping in your bed, but it was close enough to be a home race.
yeah, it's only 2.5 hours and easy drive time. But I don't know. Was I in a good mood before the race, or?
Well, this was a different one because I didn't come with you. I drove separately and I got there, and you
Okay.
were biking. And I think it was a little bit muddy-ish.
Oh, it was muddy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was a little muddy. And then I got there. You got done biking. We went and got T-shirts because you were on the shirt at Moto Tees. We kind of did that, and then we left. Like not really long after, we went and got dinner. I think with Levi, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
We went and got dinner, and then I think we just kind of
Longhorn.
relaxed. And then
So
Saturday
I want to
morning.
go back to the biking the track. It was me, Wyatt, and Kenny. And Kenny's bike ended up breaking a few miles in. And we pushed those bicycles more than we rode them because it was so muddy and so slick. And I think like 7 or 8 miles in, I said, Wyatt, nobody else in the pro class is doing this. This is all going to make, all be worth it at the end of the day.
You mean biking?
Biking.
Yeah.
Pushing our bikes more than likely. I didn't even do the last mile because I ran out of battery and I couldn't push anymore. We were waiting for the e-bike race to finish. And I was like, I'm just going to, push it back up the hill because we were kind of close and it was just going to go away. I was like, all right, I'm done. But we did 8 or 9 miles. We only had like 1 mile to go. And I was like, hey, we put in as much work as we could today and, it'll all benefit us tomorrow. And, coming into the race, I obviously had some good finishes beforehand. Sorry, excuse me. And it was just a really good day. Started with a hole shot, and sadly, I messed up.
Well, I want to go back though. So Saturday morning, I don't think it wasn't downpouring, but it started raining.
Oh, it downpoured in the morning race, yeah.
Yeah, it started raining pretty early. Where like we took umbrellas up to the morning race to watch their start. And we kind of were hiding in the trailer type of a deal. Was there there was a delay, right?
Yeah, there was another delay, which was kind of like John Penton the year before.
Yeah.
I decided to run the tweener tires. Everybody was like, you can watch the Between the Arrows. All the young kids ran smalls. All the old guys ran bigs. And I was
You're talking about just specifically in Row 1 though, right?
Yeah, Row 1. Yep. And I was like, well, guess what? GBC makes tweener. So I'm going to run these. And
we've talked about tweeners like in depth in previous episodes. So if you don't know what they are, go check it out.
Yeah. And, it was the tire of choice because Wyatt ran smalls, Bryson ran bigs. Bryson ended up third, Wyatt got second, and I was on the tweeners, and I ended up winning. That was the craziest race.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Sorry. That was the craziest race I've ever been in. I'm pretty sure I went from 3rd to 6th, 2nd to 6th, all probably 3 or 4 times in 3 laps. It was like everyone was making mistakes.
I think at one point Chris was leading, right?
I don't know. Was he?
I
think
so.
Bryson was leading the entire time until me and Wyatt.
There was a lot of confusion. The Racer TV of that one is really good. Obviously, I might be a little bit biased, but it was really good.
Yeah. Johnny did an awesome job, and so did Mikey. That's obviously my favorite one ever.
I think we've watched it about 50
times at least.
At least.
But, man, just going back and forth, everyone was making mistakes. Lappers would get stuck in front of you, and I get into a bottleneck on, I think, lap 2, maybe going into lap 3, or just right into lap 3. And it was Jared, Wyatt, and then I pull up behind him. And I was like, yo, Wyatt, what place are you in? He's like, I'm pretty sure I'm in second. He said, Walker and Bryson are up there somewhere. And if they got through, then I'm in fourth. And he's like, I can still hear them trying to get around. And I was like, I was just in sixth like 4 miles ago. So I inherited third place because I passed those two. And then Austin, Ronnie, Chris, all those guys were right behind me. And then you see Bryson and Walker coming down the hill, and the lapper finally gets unstuck. Like, nobody wanted to get off their bike to help them because they knew once that guy got moved, it was like a freight train through there. And you couldn't get off your four-wheeler because it would just get pushed out of the way.
For some reason, I feel like a couple of the normal spots that they get on Racer TV were not working. Due to the rain and like the mud, the connection was not happening. So we were only seeing you guys like twice a mile compared to when you guys check in, and then like the 3 or 4 other checkpoints around the track. And I don't think the drone was flying, or maybe the drone was flying, but it was so muddy we couldn't see.
Yep.
And so that kind of played a whole different part too. And no one in the pits even kind of really knew what was going on until, you guys would come close to us.
Yeah. And so it was Jared, Wyatt, me. We get to the next bottleneck. Me and Wyatt passed Jared. And I was like, holy smokes, we can actually do this. And we actually gapped them a little bit.
What lap was that?
I think 3.
Okay.
I think that was a 3-lap or a 4-lap race. I'm pretty sure. See if I can get it come up. Yeah, 4 laps. So he led a little bit. I think I went through the finish line on the last lap first. And then I messed up. A lapper got stuck. I tried to go around them.
Because on lap 3, when you came through the pits, we finally realized you were in first. So I gave you a pit board that said he won.
That's when I was starting to freak out because I had no idea till then. And obviously everybody cheering when I was coming below the pits where you guys were all standing. Absolutely insane emotions and just like a feeling coming through.
You did a helmet change for that one, right?
I did do a helmet change, and it worked perfectly. I did cut my head a little bit because some dirt or rock.
I think when you take your thumbs like this and pull the straps, I think your thumb.
Yeah, it's just getting that strap tight, all that kind of stuff. It's going to happen. But, man, my head is so much lighter after having a knot soaked.
It looks kind of cool in pictures, too.
Yeah, everybody knows who I am. That could be good or bad. For lappers, it's good. For pro class that are catching me, they know who I am and kind of what they need to do. But nobody was catching me other than Wyatt. We pulled a gap. We only had 10 seconds on Bryce in that race, but another 20 seconds.
Are you not going to talk about what happened like a mile before the finish?
Oh yeah, a mile before the finish. This
was on Racer TV.
Yeah, watch the Racer TV. You'll get more information than you'll get out of here, and the emotions from Johnny and Mikey kind of reflect what I was thinking the entire time. There was probably a 40 or 50 foot rut, and every lap you just kind of went into it with big tires and you could just get all the way around it. But it was a right-hand corner. It was
kind of uphill, right?
No, it was flat, but it was a right-hand corner, and there was like a high grass in the middle, so you couldn't see what was at the end. Well, it was a friend, Corey Vandeliner, was at the end of it, broken down in the rut, or he was stuck. I don't know. But I got into it, and I'm like, oh, no.
What about the hill?
The hill.
That's what I'm talking about. And you skipped that. That was an even bigger deal.
Finish. Oh, I guess we can't really finish that. Well, we get to the...
Rewind.
Yeah. We get to the hill. I think it was the FMF hill or power.
So this is before what Josh was just talking about. Yep. He'll go back and finish that part. There was 2 things back to back that happened that had us all holding our breath.
Yeah, so
all within like the last 2 miles.
We get up to the main hills, and I'm like, all right, well, I know which line I took last lap, and I made it right up. I'm gonna do that, and I missed my mark by 1 inch, and I clipped the left tree, and I lose all momentum. And that's all you needed, momentum to get up the hill. And I'm like, oh, well, there goes the race. I'm done. Wyatt's going to go to the right of me, and he's going to make it right up the hill. He gets stuck right next to me, 5 feet away, and we're both wide open. I'm like, nobody's helping us. There's a handful of people that, like we know there, and everybody's just sitting there. They're like, oh, just go back down. And I'm like, all right, if you're going to help me, I can't make it up. So I go back down and I look back up and I'm like, oh, there's Wyatt. I'm just going to go around as fast as I can. Because even if he comes back down and tries to shoot back up, maybe it will still be faster. So I go all the way around and I'm like, oh no, that could have been the entire race right there. And
on Racer TV, they also had mentioned, like, because you could see the longer route behind, but it was far enough that you couldn't tell who it was. So there was like some contemplation of, is it a different XC1 guy?
Or lappers.
Or lappers. And it was really hard to decipher. So you didn't know who, and then when you guys actually went around, they went away from that. Well, we didn't get to see when you came out. So we could see people going up the hill because Bryson had bigs, and I think Chris was still looming back there.
Jared, yep.
So at that point, like coming out of that area, we didn't know where everyone stood. And then now we can fast forward back to what happened next.
So they actually droned right after that on the live, and they still saw me out front, and then Wyatt, and then Bryson was right on Wyatt.
They picked up you, but they still weren't certain if they were just able to find you, and then they couldn't find anyone else because they were able to spot the white plastics.
Correct. And then, we get to the bottom of the Tonk. Go ahead, get up there.
Come on. You want to say hi to everyone?
Get up there.
Come on. Everyone, this is Tonka. He is Josh's biggest fan.
Is he?
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so drone picked me up. I went under the pro row. Everybody was cheering me on, so I was like, okay, I'm still in first, I think. And that's when I get to that rut, and Corey's at the end of it. I have to like Superman hang off my four-wheeler to get out of this rut, and it was the scariest thing ever. My heart rate was out of this world.
You probably had like a 10-second gap, like that. You had a little bit of room. It's not like Wyatt and Bryson when you were coming into that turn were right on your back.
No,
wheels,
I had 30 seconds.
Yeah,
there.
so but
and I had came out with 10 seconds, I think.
I knew, I'm sure in the back of your mind, like you're like, shit, here they come.
Yeah.
Like they are back there. So there was that weighing on you as well.
Yep. So after that happened, my heart rate was spiked, and I was just like, let's just get to the finish line. Like if I can get to the finish line without any more mistakes, I will win this race.
That was probably like a half mile from the finish, would you say?
I would say like a mile.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like a mile.
Keeping it really close, though, regardless.
Yeah, because, it was field sections, so it was pretty fast. There was one little wood section, and, we came through that finish line, gave her the revs, super pumped, still super pumped.
That's it.
That's it right there. So
got the whole shot. You were on the T-shirt. It was a perfect storm.
The perfect weekend. I don't know if it gets much better than that, and finally got it done. I think this was 10 or 11 years in XC1. So pretty wild. Just got to chase your dreams, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
there was a lot of question around if you were going to retire or not.
Yeah, through my younger years of XC1, the dream of winning was very far out there. And I always said to everyone, I said, hey, I'm getting older. If I win one, I think I'm going to retire. Like that's the last thing I want to do on my bucket list. I think a championship might be out of the question. So let me win one. I'll retire the fastest man ever.
When you said that, did you think like it was going to come out of a season that you were still like a mid-pack guy? Like you didn't think that you were ever going to be a podium guy? Is that why you said
100%.
it? Okay.
Yep. And I think that's the only reason why I'm still racing is because like, oh wow, I can do this
because you're still
almost every weekend. Yeah. I can try to do this every weekend. I can fight for a win, fight for a podium, and 3 years ago, I would have never thought that. So
I think a lot of people are happy that that was not the case.
yeah, they were pumped. Johnny even said he would kick my butt if I did retire. We are tied on wins, me and Johnny Gallagher, so super pumped about that, and hoping to break that record of me and his coming in 2025. But awesome race. Wyatt, second place. Bryson, third. Heck of a race. Craziest thing I've ever been a part of. Just bottlenecks everywhere. And good passing, good racing. Nothing dirty. But yeah, we'll move on to the Mason-Dixon, Mount Morris, Pennsylvania. I don't really remember this one. Which one's this? Is this?
It's High Point.
Oh, it's High Point. Oh, this is the one Cole came to. So Cole,
This was a good race.
Yeah, this is the first race I got a bad start at. I was dead last going off the line. I looked back at you, and you were like, "What did I do?" And I was like, "That's not what I was saying. I was saying this is gonna be a long day." And I talk. Why are you staring at me, buddy?
He loves you.
So came from literally dead last to third. It was just a grind. I had a lot of things go in my favor that race, from people letting me by to making quick passes on a couple other people. It was super a super great, fun track. It seemed like you could pass people, in every few miles. Like there was another line where you could get by someone. So
it was a good passing track.
yeah, I would say it's one of the better ones at the series.
Now, in 2023, it was really, really dusty there, but it wasn't that dusty this time, right?
No, it wasn't bad this year. I don't know if we got any rain, but I think, I don't know. It wasn't dusty at all, but it was decent conditions. Racing was good. I actually ended up battling with Cole for a good bit, and with
Cole and Hunter.
Oh, yeah. How did I get by Hunter? I remember I got by Wyatt because his fuel thing got stuck, and he jumped up on his seat because it's caught on fire before. I don't remember how I got by Hunter. I think Cole let me by, though, and he wanted to follow me. And I even told him before the race, I was like, I'll catch you at lap 3. And literally I caught him at lap 3, and, I kind of towed him along. I know how
He and Hunter were battling for
Yeah,
a
I
good
know
bit,
how
and then you caught them. And then I don't know if they got kind of like they either wore each other out or kind of a thing, but the three
Yeah.
of you came in together.
Yeah, I remember how Cole got by Hunter because we were actually watching two guys almost fight, and then they ended up fighting at the finish line. But they were stuck together or something, and I was like, it was kind of a single line, and then it was me, Hunter, and then Cole finally caught us, and I watched Cole literally go over Hunter's tires, and I could just see Hunter exploding. It was funny at the moment, but I was like, all right, Cole, you can't do that to me. There's nowhere to go over here. And made sure I really tucked my front end into those guys that were about to fight. So battled Cole into the finish line, and for third place, that is his best track. He has the most wins there. And, just to do that, yeah, he has been part-time this year, but he's still been riding. I mean, I was riding with him at that point, training with him, and I knew he was fast, and happy for another day on the podium, get that extra money and get those extra points.
I think that was a good confidence booster for you.
Yeah, definitely.
And yes, there was a fight after the race. It was insane. I think I was actually up on Josh's four-wheeler trying to get a better angle to watch. It really, there was a lot of talking before it really went down, and then a punch was thrown, and I want to say one of the guys had a helmet on, and I just have never understood fighting with a helmet on. What? Anyways,
you can't get hit if you have a helmet on.
It's just so funny to me.
Unless you just get hit right in the eyes.
If I'm wearing a helmet, I'd call someone a bitch and it'd be fine because like, what are you going to do? I have a helmet on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I agree. That was a great fight. GNCC needs some drama, Keep
it lively.
Yeah, keep the fans going. Get them going a little bit.
Weren't they like, what class was that?
I think they got like 100th overall in the class.
No, it was like...
No, it was like 100.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, or 120th. It was like right around there.
Okay.
All right. Round 9, snowshoe GNCC. Terrible race. Actually had some friends come.
It was set up to be a really good weekend.
It was great. Going to be a great weekend. We had friends. We were ready to, celebrate afterwards, going into the break, and man, the race just did not go the way I needed it to go. Last year, I got 4th place, 0.8 seconds out of 3rd behind Jared McClure. This year,
snake got you.
Yeah, the sneaky snake did get me. And this year, first time ever starting front row, a little nervous. Man, I think it was like the first 2 miles, I got a flat tire, and I could feel the whole rear end just kind of giving me the old shakes. And I think I worried about it too much. I think if I just would have rode, I think I would have done a little bit better. But I was babying the already flat tire, knowing, I have to make it to change it. And you guys weren't ready on lap 1 because who would have guessed I would have had a flat tire on lap 1. So I had to go a whole nother lap like I said, I was babying it and just falling back, and the whole tire switch and the setup of our mud plugs.
I would like to say too, as far as the way that it is designed for tire swaps, when you are doing it at a slow pace, it's not that big of a deal. But just so happened that the mud covers that you have, all of the bolts that secure it onto the rim are identical.
Yep.
And you only need 4 out of what? There's 12 total. Is that right? 12?
I think so. 12
so 4 out of 12, the odds of that are 25% that you're going to get right, but you have to. So at that point, it was like we were almost taking off your entire rim.
Yeah,
just trying to get into.
The one rim was almost fully taken off, and sadly, you had to do the inside and the outside of the rim, which was, we learned a lot that race. That won't be happening next year.
It happens.
I ended up with like 5 flat tires that race, which is absolutely insane. We didn't have the right tire balls in the tires. The pressures were probably not even right. We needed a big tire.
You live and you learn.
Yeah, a big tire setup. And we just did not have that this year.
And we still had fun.
Yeah. And, ended up, what did we get? Snowshoe, 12th and 12th overall. Not the best.
Well, considering how long, because you stopped the first lap, you wanted us to change tires. We weren't ready. We said, go, come back.
Yep.
So you ran essentially 2 full laps with a flat tire, and then you sat there for 2-3 minutes while we were changing your tires?
Like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 12th, considering those conditions, not terrible.
No. So 12th overall, we had fun. Saturday night.
Sunday was a blast.
Oh yeah, Sunday we hung out with Vince from Fox. We went down to Howard's Hole, and we got to experience like the no fans of Howard Hole, and
it was so much fun.
People lines. And
Josh becomes a animal in the wood. Like, he enjoys it so much, and it's so fun to watch him run around and like point the dirt bikes into different lines. And it's literal chaos. Like, I think at one point he was running around literally just yelling just for fun.
Yeah. I mean, the morning race is just a blast to watch.
I'll see if I'm going to add a video into this one too, because I have some of him running around and pointing people in, and then them getting stuck and then throwing roost at us. So it was fun.
Yeah. It was a good time. Snowshoe always is. We had a cool little house with our friends and my sister. And yeah, it was a very good time. Okay. On to round 10, the buckwheat 100. Which one's the buckwheat?
Isn't it the Penn?
No, buckwheat. That's the John Penn is the Penn. Buckwheat 100, West Virginia.
Boy Scout Camp?
No, Boy Scout Camp is the Mountaineer.
CJ Raceway.
CJ Raceway. That's what it is. Wyatt Wilkin gets his first win ever. Still pumped on that.
What a can I just jump to the podium? I
Just
mean,
jump
what
to the
more is there
podium.
to say other than I'm sorry. I love you. I'm a big supporter of you, but that podium. Are you kidding me? Wyatt was naked
the
at
hype
one
man.
point. You guys, everyone, the four-wheelers were naked. What more excitement was there?
I am never giving my plastics away again. First off,
Okay, don't be negative. How fun was that though?
it was a blast. And, I look at Walker. He's like, should we take them off? I was like, I don't get these for free. And he's like, I'll get you some.
If you haven't seen the videos,
factory Walker saying this.
Even Mark comes up and is trying to be the rationale of the group and say, no, what are you doing? Stop. But it was really, really cute. There was a little girl that was crying that had plastics.
That got Wyatt's plastics.
Yeah, she was over the moon about it. But that's that to me, and the biggest thing that I've learned and got to experience about GNCC racing, that's what it is about. That community and those people and like the fans and just the enjoyment, like pure excitement. People were thrilled. To see a crowd like that was amazing.
Yeah. Wyatt can get the people hyped up. I mean, his first win ever. He got his first podium this year and his first win, which is awesome. I mean, I got my first podium a year before that. But it took a whole nother season to get another one. And for him to get his first podium ever and his first win same season, amazing. The kid's going to go so far. Huge supporter of Wyatt Wilkin. He puts in the work. He's got the heart. His bike setup's right. Matt Pierce got him set up.
But that wasn't the one. That wasn't the one that Walker wore your stuff, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so there's even so much more to this, and I think, and yes, obviously Wyatt draws the crowd, but there was a lot that happened, and I think that there was a lot that drew the people in because you have a big crowd of people supporting you. Walker had this whole.
Yeah, Walker didn't want to race, wasn't going to race. Then the race gets postponed. Then he's
because of rain again, right?
Asking everyone for gear. He's wearing my gear, my helmet, someone else's boots, my underpants, like all my stuff because I take like 2-3 sets of gear to the race.
They jokingly said there's 2 Merritts on the podium today.
Yeah, Merritt's plural up on the podium. He's wearing my stuff. It was so cool. Actually, I have the jersey. You want to go get that or no? We have the jersey. He put a little saying on it.
You can go grab it.
And, signed it, gave it back to me, and ordered me new stuff, which was super cool of him. He did keep the helmet. Just got me a new helmet. So I'm not going to put the mic or the headset on for this, but hopefully it sounds good. It says, JM, thanks for this gear, bro. You have no idea how big of a deal this was for me. Let's make these remaining years count, my friend. Love you long time. Walker Fowler, 723.
That was pretty cool. So between Wyatt's first win, Walker coming out, acting as Josh getting another podium, all Ohio boys on the podium, it was just a really, really cool day. Obviously, I want to see Josh winning and doing all of the things, but in my book, that was the same thing as a win for him, and it was awesome. So probably aside from Josh's win this year, and I would say round 1 was also a huge highlight for me for Josh, but that was probably number 3.
Number 3.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. That was a good race. Another bad start to third in muddy conditions. Should have not have happened. I think I got beat by like 2 minutes by Walker and Wyatt.
I think in general this year there was a lot more rain than like I would say the past 3 or 4.
Yeah, it definitely was a rainy year, and I think even the announcers were saying once we got to a dry race, they're like, "Oh, we all been waiting for this." But sadly,
because Georgia was wet too.
Yeah, Georgia was water, like it was racing through creeks. But sadly, the next race, Beckley, West Virginia, was totally opposite. It was dusty.
Was this the first one back after break?
No, CJ was.
Okay, sorry.
So
what round is this?
This is round 11. The Mountaineer.
No, there were 3 after.
I thought there was 4.
But that's what I'm saying. Round 11, it would have to be after break.
Yeah. No, it was after break.
Oh, okay.
So we ended at Snowshoe, then round 10 was the first round back.
Okay.
And then 11 was the Mountaineer. So the Mountaineer, super dusty. I got a terrible start. Wyatt, I was like, look, I got 3 rounds to go. I'm in a points battle with Wyatt Wilkin. Bryson and Walker are kind of, out there in points. I was like, the only guy I had to beat is Wyatt. I start almost dead last. The guy behind me is Wyatt Wilkin. I'm like, all right, well, here we go through the pack.
I do want to say I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I keep thinking about the last round. So not only was Walker not going to race, and then he raced and he podiumed, but then Bryson broke that round.
Oh, yeah, Bryson
So
broke.
that kind of threw a whole monkey wrench, and Walker was back in the championship fight.
That's very true.
And it kind of closed the gap for everyone.
Yep, that's very true. That's why he was so pumped to race it, and because he wasn't going to race until it rained.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, now totally different situation. Dust race. Me and Wyatt get terrible starts. I'm like, hey, I only have to beat this guy. On the 3rd lap, I see Wyatt in the pits. I'm still like, what did I finish? I finished 9th. I think I was like 10th at the time, and I made one more pass. It was so sketchy, so dusty, one-lined, terrible track.
I think Bryce and Walker were the only ones who made passes that day.
And everybody else just kind of stayed where they were. And I made 2 passes, I think, all day, and I stayed where I was because I tried to pass Chris. He dusted me out. I clipped a tree and almost died, I would say.
I raced that one, or so I tried.
Yeah.
I got 2 front flats in the first 4 miles.
Yeah, that was wild.
It was terrible.
She chunked some tires.
And I loved that track last year. It was my favorite one. I was so excited to go. It was the first one that I was going to race this year, and it just freaking sucked. I came up to Josh. I rode up to him, and I thought I got so sore just from doing that one lap because I was fighting the 4-wheeler so hard. I couldn't have been happier to see Josh in that moment.
Yeah, I saw her at the rock pile. I was like, what's wrong? She's like, I got front flats. I'm like, oh, I can see that. And I was like, you have 1 mile until you can pull off and just drive to the pit. And that's what she did.
But it was okay because then I was able to help him get ready, and that's what was important to me anyways. So
not the best finish. I literally saw Wyatt, and I was like, okay, let's just get to the finish line. I saw Wyatt on the sideline, I should say. He got a DNF. I got a 9th. That could have been a pivotal change in the points right there. If I would have made up a few more places, I would have had a bigger gap going into the last 2. Didn't end up mattering anyways, but we'll go to the John Penton. What happened at the John Penton? Another bad start. It was 4 or 5 bad starts in a row, guys. I don't know what happened. I think it was nerves. I think
you got in your own head once. It happened once.
Yeah.
And then
confidence was just not there in the 4-wheeler starting it up.
At Boy Scout camp, there were 3. There were 2, at least 1 or 2 XC2 guys that false started. There were a couple people in XC1 who false started. So you had that, monkey wrench thrown in there. And you didn't have necessarily a terrible start. And going into where you go into women's pro row at the round before, you actually weren't sitting in a terrible spot. And then there was a small mishap that ended up putting you back further. But yes, I think at John Penton, you did have a rough start.
Yeah. To be honest, coming into John Penton from the year prior, getting my first podium ever, 2nd place, into this year, I just didn't have good feeling about it.
It rained all day Friday.
It did rain. I didn't get to bike the track because of the rain. Just, I don't know. It just wasn't feeling spunky like I do when I come to John Penton. And it showed. I ended up 7th in the class, getting smoked pretty much by the top 3. Wyatt got 3rd, so he got extra points, kind of closed up the points from the race before. And I really don't remember. I remember trying really hard and not going very fast. at that race. And it was so slick and so one-lined. Yeah, we won't even get into that.
Ooh, juicy.
No,
You want to give us a little?
It was just, you can't pass at that track, and you try and you try and you try, and you have these close encounters where if you don't let off, you could hurt somebody, or you rev at them and you yell at them in the corners, and they eventually let you by, and sometimes it just takes a little too long, and you lose those guys that you need to battle with. So it's part of it. You got to get a good start. You put yourself into that position, and that's racing. That's GNCC racing right there. So you see Walker, you see Bryson, you see Wyatt, man. Wyatt, I would say he had really good starts this year also, but Bryson and Walker were top 3 most rounds that they were on the podium. So if not, they can work through the pack. I was not at the point where every single race I could pass everyone and have that respect of, oh, here comes the number 1 or here comes the 723. So hopefully going into 2025, I'll have a little bit more of that respect, and they know I'll be coming to the front. Hopefully. We'll see. I mean, someone could just say no, and I'm going to have to get by them the hard way. So that's why we line up.
So when you left there, you and Wyatt had a 4-point gap. You had the advantage. And it was kind of odd because we had a month break from the last 2 races going into Ironman. So
month break. I think I took a week off and then maybe a week and a half off of the 4-wheeler. I was still training. I think it was a week because I was started working a lot then.
I don't remember that.
But then I hit it hard. Like 2.5 weeks before the race, I was riding every single day, probably like 6 or 7 days in a row, working out every single day. So I was ready to go. And like I wanted to finish better at Ironman than I did at the Hoosier. And I knew I could do it. I was in that 4th place trying to pass for 3rd, and I just couldn't, it started raining. I made that one mistake. This race, I was like, okay, I'm confident I can do it. I was running, I got off to a good start. I think I was like 5th or 6th off the start.
Yeah.
And
it was mid-pack. That's just all you needed to do.
Yeah, mid-pack. Me and Wyatt actually came together off the start. He got clipped on his right, which shot him left into me. I was kind of going right also, so we kind of pinched him. It wasn't on purpose. I think it was like the rain rut took me into it, but I don't know who was to his right. They smashed him, and I was like, okay, I gotta beat this guy. I just gotta stay ahead of him, and I was getting pit boards of where he was. I could see him in big sections that he was quad or 2 behind me.
We figured you could see him in the field sections.
Yep. Hold on a second. Losing voice.
So much talking. You talk a lot during the day. I'm surprised this is happening to you.
Yeah, no.
We are kind of getting over a very minor cold, which it's weird because from the time that we've been dating, neither of us really have been sick, and then we both just got hit like in the last 2 weeks, I would say.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So I was seeing him. I was really pumped up. I was riding, I think over my head, and I could just feel myself. I was like, just breathe. You're doing good. You're in 3rd place. I think I was almost in 2nd for a second.
At one point, no, you weren't, but you were really, really close. Like Cole and Ronnie, I don't think you realized.
Cole and Steven. And then
yes, I'm sorry.
Ronnie went backwards for a second.
I don't think you realized how close you were to them. Everyone, was right there. If only you could have realized, like, shit, you were 10 seconds out of winning.
Yeah. And I think
Lead,
Levi said at the pit, you can win this thing. And I saw Cole and Steven leave right as he was saying that. I was like, holy crap, they're right there. I looked back to make sure I could pull out, and I saw Wyatt and Austin, I think.
Hunter
Ronnie
was in there somewhere too.
Ronnie was right there. So I was like, okay, they're right there. I can catch them. And that's when, things started going wrong. Didn't make any mistakes on the track. Just had
In all honesty, I think we had too many electrolytes in you and not enough water. And I think that didn't help with your arm pump.
Yeah. I just need to do water. But I also think I probably was holding my breath a lot out there because I was trying way too hard. I had a lot of pressure and I was freaking out.
I think if there's anything I've learned from this year is I think you're there I think you're there physically. I think you're there and you have the experience. I think the biggest thing will always be getting you to believe in yourself and be mentally strong in the sense of you can do it, because you just said you were breathing. There was a lot on the line. And if you can just separate it, Johnny always tells you, just go out there and ride your four-wheeler. Just go out there and ride your four-wheeler. As soon as that switch can happen for you, it's, I know, always easier said than done. But at the end of the day, once that distinction can happen for you, I think that will be, everyone watch out. Game over.
Well, maybe 2025.
Dun, dun, dun.
But fumbled the bag, I'd say, a little bit on lap 3. Ronnie actually passed me, but Wyatt and Hunter and I think one other person got by me when I had a little mess up, and ended up 7th. Actually, I apologized to Hunter, but I even landed on him at one point because I jumped this hill because I was like, ones if Wyatt didn't get by these guys, I only have 4 points. Even if we tied, it would be who finished the best the last round. And I was like going for gold. Sorry, Hunter. Obviously, I don't mean to jump on anybody, especially in an XC race. I was kind of going up the hill, and his line was going right to left, which would be underneath me. And it was just really, really bad timing. But he was okay. I was okay. We finished the race.
No one came off their four-wheelers.
Yeah, nobody came off their four-wheelers.
Racing
I
incident.
finished right behind him. And, lost the 3rd place overall by 3 or 4 points because Wyatt got 3rd, 2nd.
No. Wyatt got 3rd. It was 2 points.
Oh, it was 2 points? You sure?
Well, I knew that if Wyatt was in 4th, you just had to get 6th and you were going to beat him. But then he got 3rd and you stayed in 7th.
3 points.
Sorry.
It's okay. He beat me by 3 points. He deserved it. He did good. He put in the work.
At the end of the day, though, I continue to remind you that your whole season was not defined by the last race. Bottom line, you had a very good season. And the main thing that we kept trying to say even all day, and again that I continue to tell you, is JM11, JM8, JM6, JM13, and young you would all be very, very proud of you.
Yes.
So you can't hang your head on the few outcomes that you didn't love, but that's it. And quite frankly, I think the trials and tribulations that you had there towards the end has only made you more hungry for next year.
Yep. 100%. I think if I would have ended up 3rd, I would have still be hunting right now. I'd still be not training.
Which I have to say, I'm not giving it away because I am taking pride in how I feel about and what's happening in this off season, but things are going to be different than the way they've been in the past, and I'm excited to see what the possible outcome is going to be next season.
Yep. Already, working with Levi. What do you want to say? Go ahead. Say it.
No, I didn't have anything to say.
I can see you were going to say something. No? Okay. So, working with Levi already, putting in the work, starting early, just so when I do get down south, I'm not sore every single day because that was miserable last year, and me being mean to Levi for having to work out was not fun.
Poor Levi.
Yeah, he did his job though. He told me shut up and get to work. So as long as he can do that, and I start now, it will all be good to go when we get down south, and it'll be more of fine tuning the riding part. and working with Mark on suspension. So very excited for 2025. New things coming, new parts on the quad.
There's some things that are changing, and it's exciting.
Yeah, new beginnings, and 2025 is gonna be awesome.
There's a lot of people that have helped you, and you've stayed loyal to, and right back, vice versa. You've been loyal to them, they've been loyal to you, and those relationships are going to continue. But I also think it's exciting to see new things coming in, and I don't know.
Yeah, more to come, guys. Thank you for listening to the podcast.
Oh, we're wrapping it up.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up.
I just
there.
got comfortable.
Oh, you just got comfortable?
Yeah, I don't know if anybody can see that Tonka is out. I don't know if we should take it as that we're boring or that he just loves us so much. He's just so happy to be involved. But okay, well, I guess that's it. Well,
2024 is a wrap. 4th overall, JM4, and motivated for 2025.
So now that it's off season, I know that we said this last time, and you guys are probably like, yeah, okay. But our goal is to at least try and keep these consistent what we can while Josh is here. He will be leaving to go south somewhat, but we have some time before that. So anything you guys want to hear us blab about, share info.
I'm going to be doing I feel like my own little
He was going to do solo stuff.
just
my
kinda
schedule has
talk.
gotten a little more strict.
So it'll be exciting just to talk to you guys
maybe
about.
just you and Tonka.
Yeah, me and Tonka. We'll just be talking about 4-wheelers and riding and all that kind of stuff. So I have a lot of past. He's snoring right now. You gotta.
Should we do ASMR with Tonka?
No. Well,
Anyways,
we could.
So thanks, guys. We have a Instagram in the RUT podcast, YouTube, email. Reach out to us. Let us know what you're thinking, what you want to hear, any feedback you may have. Give Josh a kudos for the year because I know I do. Tell him you're proud of him.
Thanks.
What you want to see out of him for next year. So we appreciate you guys. Can't wait for the next one.
Peace.